Welcome to the Oddcast podcast.
Yeah, this is the Oddcast podcast, and we're doing a follow-up of what's happening since we last spoke. My office is now closed to April 20th, and they're still doing it week by week, so it could be to the 30th. Heard the schools are closed till May 5th, but there's also word that they're not planning on bringing the kids back, so they might be just doing online schooling.
Yeah, I live in Missouri, so it's quite different than where you're at, Aaron, in California. And Tammy, you're in Delaware.
Yeah,
Missouri was one of the final 10 remaining states that has not issued statewide stay-at-home recommendations.
Still.
The actual city and county of St. Louis has. Working from home, kids out of daycare, 16-month-old at home all day. So it's quite a different schedule now. You know, me and my partner, we split our time, between watching him and trying to get some work done during the week. So it's been tough to do that, but a lot of good things have come from it, from being home, having time to do things that you don't normally get to do.
hey, that's true. I've been working on some new music and stuff like that. It's been unique experience, kind of not seeing anyone except just the neighbors and maybe my roommates out here in San Diego.
My highlight is watching Josh take on Ryan Del P with the beard, man. It's just like, it's almost like getting
Can't
there.
compete. I
He's not
can't
going to
compete
catch up. He's
I
not
just
gonna
cut
catch up.
mine. I just cut it the other day, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get paranoid. Like I'm like washing my hands like every other second now. It's getting ridiculous. Like everything I touch, I think, oh man, maybe I should go back to the soap and all that. And I'm like, I gotta stop doing that. It's just like getting ridiculous. But you do
got
start
so
getting
paranoid. You left the planet Earth. It looks like.
Yeah, I did.
Mm.
Is there?
I got
Yeah,
caught.
you really took social distancing seriously. Is there? I
He
guess.
took it very seriously.
I want to put it in perspective, right? Where our country was March 15th. So that was 20 days ago? We were at 3,600 total cases in the U.S. Total new cases per day, about 800. Total deaths, 69, right? That was March 15th, so less than 100. Now
last
we're
video.
at like 10,000 in this, in 20 days, we went from 70 people, 69 people to nearly 10,000 in 20 days.
And I think New York, especially like New York City, New York takes up like 40% of the deaths and infections.
And New Jersey, too. And then
And
New Jersey's gotten pretty bad, yeah.
Man, just
Yeah,
as
it's not
New
pretty-
York and New Jersey right next to each other.
That's right in your guys'
like-
backyard.
Yeah, man.
Literally in the backyard, like filled up. I'm like across the street. I mean, the bridge is right next to me.
John, since you're in Pennsylvania, I was hearing a lot of discussions about that Pennsylvania people can't shop in Delaware for like liquor or food. Total Wine was like the cops were all there, county cops, and they were like either fining, like asking for everybody's ID and either giving them a fine or sending them home. So the new Sprouts store that opened up around on Concord Pike, they are also the Pennsylvania, even though it's right over the line, Pennsylvania was not allowed to shop there. Have you had any thoughts or troubles or saw some of this happening?
Like it was a couple days ago, I think they made the edict to like out-of-staters would have to justify why being there, and that the cops in Delaware would start looking at license plates and making sure that they were Delaware license.
You guys really have a border rules now. Like you can't cross the state line or just can't loiter, I guess, over there.
I mean, unless you have a valid reason to go across the line. Like I heard some like taking care of relatives, but I think like the last few weeks we were allowed for essential needs like shopping. Now it's like you can't go in at all. And I'm thinking maybe a few weeks of this, 2-3 weeks, because most of Delaware's business is from out of towners. I think this got due to the fact of New York City, New Jersey, everyone being so close, and Delaware's right there as a tri-state area for most of these out of towners to come in and out. And
Yeah, that's crossing the line there.
Literally crossing the line. It is.
yeah, it's definitely crossing the line. I think I heard someone like from Maryland was trying to get chicken or something like that, and she got stopped. It could be any state. I just went there once on Friday and then quickly came back. So I haven't experienced it, but I didn't bother going shopping or anything like that.
Yeah, someone at my husband's work, he lost one of his employees because she went over the line, and since the work found out about that, she's not allowed back. So
This quarantine
because
Yeah.
she has to quarantine for 14 days and then she's allowed to return back to work.
Oh my God, damn.
Anybody's work, if anybody have permits in their car, we all, like all the essential workers, we all have permits, because cop, if they pull you over, it's a $500 fine if you're not an essential worker, that you shouldn't be on the road. So Steve and I have like a special permit to be allowed on the road. I was wondering.
My company actually gave me a statement to carry with me because I'm in clinical research. And so my job is actually deemed as a necessity, except for the fact I can't travel. Most of my sites, like hospitals and all that, shut us from traveling there. But if I'm on the road and I have, even in that statement, I don't know if the cops will delve deep into it and start contacting my company, but then they'll wonder why I'm still on the road, which I shouldn't be. So yeah, I have a statement. I haven't tested it out yet. So I don't know if I would.
Right.
I think like your permit sounds like a better idea than the statement
Right.
I was given.
How do they tell if you're not going to go get groceries or something?
Has that happened
Yeah,
in
I
Delaware
know.
yet? I didn't know that happened in Delaware, where you're not
I
allowed
thought
to be.
Yeah, it is Delaware and Pennsylvania.
Well, but I mean,
Well, the
but they
stories I
haven't
heard,
enforced
happened
it.
on the highway. So I guess
There's so
they're
many
traveling
people.
far. Like, why
Oh.
would you be on the highway if you're going to the grocery store? I guess so. The people
That's
that did
true.
get pulled over and got those hefty fines were on the highway, and they didn't have a permit to be why they're heading to work or home. So,
Oh,
one person worked at an OBGYN office and got a $500 fine.
Yeah.
Damn.
$500 fine. Damn. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, my state, I mean, you can still drive on the highway. Just over the weekend, yesterday, all the parks are closed, but you're still able to go driving anywhere you want.
Parks, man.
Yeah,
Parks are closed?
they closed all the parks, all the, I have, like I said, a little toddler at home. Children can definitely carry it, and, they like to share their mucus everywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So parks have caution tape like wrapped around the jungle gyms.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so there's really
Interesting, because your state is not as intense as like Delaware, but all the Delaware state parks are still open, I think. I think it's just.
And we have more cases than Delaware, definitely.
Wow.
Well, per capita, I guess, or whatever. But or is it?
Yeah, I haven't looked at per capita. I mean, I don't even know our population.
Delaware's so tiny, but it's.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have millions of people in the St. Louis, the greater St. Louis area living here. And
Gotcha.
That's where it can go rampant really quick if they're not controlling it.
So the Delaware senator, I was watching him when he was talking live, and they were talking about makes sense that you said they'd flag off the jungle gym and stuff, but they're going around. He said they're sending out cops to go around and remove all the basketball hoops because they're afraid like all the younger kids are still playing
Basketball.
With each other.
Yeah,
Like,
they will.
like a close contact sport like basketball, that they're going around and removing all the park hoops. So
wow, I've seen so many people playing tennis here. I'm like, like you're sweating all over that ball. The person, unless it's somebody you're living with and you go out and play tennis with them.
Right.
For St. Louis, what about Chicago? Or I heard Chicago's a hot spot. Detroit's a hot spot. Are you guys doing anything for keeping them out of state?
I mean, we're not stopping anybody from coming into our state. Illinois is the one that has a lot more restrictions, I think, put in place right now.
Yeah, I would imagine the restrictions in Illinois are way stronger than Missouri.
Yeah,
Illinois,
basically,
Michigan.
You're supposed to stay home for 2 weeks.
I read an article that a guy in Hawaii, because they have the restrictions there, he was driving to Alaska, and he just shouldn't have been doing that in the first place, so they stopped him.
What? I didn't know they had a road. Maybe it was the
Bridge.
Yeah, land bridge.
Yeah, they stopped him for it though.
No.
He didn't get too far.
I read that news.
So what's everybody's? Has anybody picked up any new hobbies or spent time improving? Working on things that they did like to do before, just more so now.
yeah, I am. I'm doing a painting project. I'm painting my whole downstairs den, and I've been like doing a little bit of home workout, one of those free apps since they're all free right now, and longer walks. And I've been seeing neighbors I never seen before that are walking farther with their dog, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, see a lot of new faces and stuff. So
I've been going on
I've
hella
been
walks.
trying to adjust to it now.
You're trying to adjust?
I
You
feel
say-
like fire now. Like I was kind of got.
Then 2 weeks ago.
The only thing
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes me scared is as it's getting, the numbers are rising, I don't want to go food shopping anymore. Like, I just feel like, like a scout from The Walking Dead. Like, I'm like, like getting ready and suited up, and I'm like, is today going to be the day? Or
You
Yeah,
get
I'm-
stuff delivered and stuff.
I think
thinking
I'm
about
gonna start doing that. Yeah, I think I might.
There is a long waiting list. Like I think my dad went to BJ's and it was, I think the next order is going to take a week to get to your house from when you place it almost. Yeah, so if you want to place orders, you probably should do it soon.
Right. Well, I was thinking about other companies like Blue Ribbon Foods or Omaha Steaks, or there's like there's other companies that just like mail you, like Amazon. They're
Yeah.
like with Whole Foods now, so
Does it-
I was maybe thinking about pursuing one of those. But the whole thing comes up.
Is anyone feeling cabin fever, or do you think it's getting better? Like, are you saying that you're getting more used to it now, so you're having less cabin fever, getting used to that isolation?
Yes.
Yep.
No.
You're going insane.
Why don't
Yeah.
you guys can elaborate? Why don't you
Don't,
elaborate?
don't like it. I want to be out and watching heavy metal shows. I want to be at the TLA. I want to be at the Union Transfer. I want to be at the Voltage Lounge, but I can't do it right now, and it's annoying.
Did you have any concerts that you had already paid tickets that got canceled?
He did. Between a Bear to Me.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't buy the
yeah,
ticket, remember? I always wait till the last minute. Paid
Yeah,
off this time because you got
Well,
canceled.
the ticket's still good. It's just they need to set up a new tour dates, and that would have been great because that would have been like an after birthday gift for me. It would have been amazing. I mean, I've seen them like 30 times, but still, I always see them every time they come around.
I bought concert tickets to Weezer and Fall Out Boy, and I forget what else that's in it, but right before it all shut down, so I don't know if it's gonna be still. Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear if it got canceled.
When is it?
End of August.
On the cusp of.
I know there's other ones in August and weddings in August that all got pushed out, so I'm kind of just waiting to get that email. When's your concert?
Mine was May 12th.
Oh, okay. Did they just like send you an email or refund your money, or they just kind of keep?
No,
it
no, the
credit
ticket's
and
still-
It's gonna be the next date.
No, whenever the next when they reschedule it, the ticket's still good. So
Oh, okay.
that's basically how it goes. But to piggyback off the idea of what any new hobbies and stuff like that, I have been reading about the history of U.S. currency and how Lincoln used it to support the Union during the American Civil War. So that's been exercising my brain on that. It's been very interesting.
I've been steady doing tons of gardening, like preparing, like planting seeds and doing all the vegetables that I use in my meals. I'll keep the tops of the carrots or the eyes of the potato, and I've been, onions and garlic and all this.
Top to the celery.
Just trying to, I've been seeing all those videos.
Put it in water, root it.
I see tons of videos on Facebook or YouTube growing your, starting vegetables from your produce stuff. And and since the COVID hit, it's really inspired me to kind of become a little independent. It's going to take a while, and the harvest is not going to be much, but it's a good skill to have.
So we're truly going back in the ages then, farming.
Yeah. I do feel stressful trashing that stuff too, or even if I'm going through my cabinet and there's something old and stale, I'm like, I don't want to trash this. What if I'm going to be like, what if this is my only food later? Like a month down the road, like something really, like something goes really south. Like,
yeah, it'll be better than nothing.
right. I don't know if I was the only one that had that happen to.
Yeah, I definitely haven't thrown away any uneaten food in a while.
I like to mention my machete got used. So there was a creepy knock on the door, and Steve grabbed my machete. I don't know if some of you were on last time that I was talking about. I got a machete for a weapon because there's guns around just in case I need to defend my TP in the house. So
my 74-year-old neighbor, she popped over on the fence the other day holding a sign that said, she wrote out herself because she thought it would be funny. It says, "Will work for toilet paper." And she's 74 years old out there holding it like as a car goes by. I'm like, what?
I should have took a picture.
She's okay though. She thought it was funny. Like, I'm like, oh my God. terribly. I saw some memes on Facebook about people returning that toilet paper. Like, I may have gotten too many.
I saw a video of someone making their dog jump over like rows of toilet paper, and they made columns and stuff, and the dog kept jumping as it got higher.
Oh,
And I was just
cool.
like, yeah, I was like, man, what a waste of toilet paper.
I'm gonna build like an igloo, like a fort, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I just think of all the years of when the seniors in high school would throw toilet paper on at Brandywine High School all over the tree.
yeah.
All the years of wasted toilet paper over that.
No, you're absolutely right, man. Yeah. Precious commodity now.
Right.
Man.
Somebody toilet papered somebody's house now, like they would actually make the news and get people really upset.
On that back on some type of roll, man.
Or people come running, ripping it off the trees, you know? Like,
It's gonna be a lot of TPing at the end of this year, though. Hopefully, if this clears up, it's gonna be a
I saw this really-
celebration.
yeah, I saw this really cool spitball gun. It's you hook a roll of toilet paper to it, and it holds a little vial of water. And it makes this perfect, like endless, like big wads of spitballs, which I thought was cool for kids because they don't have to clean up the spitballs. But
It's wasting
I was like,
paper.
oh, that's not. I wanted to get that, but then everything went, as it is, and now toilet paper's precious, so can't get that now.
So I see that Aaron's friend jumped in here. Aaron, do you want to introduce your buddy?
Yeah, my buddy Neel, he's joining us from over there in Los Angeles. So I just want to get a little perspective on how things are going over there.
Hey,
Hey,
Nick.
everyone.
Well,
Hi, Neil.
Hello.
How are you all doing? Nice to meet you.
Hey.
How you been?
Doing well. Things are going, okay here. I'm in Los Angeles, and yeah, I would imagine that it's in a lot of ways similar to what's going on in all of your worlds. We're not used to seeing the entire freeways and everything completely empty over here.
Yeah, especially in Los Angeles.
That's probably historic in Los Angeles. That's probably-
Definitely.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
listening
think
to
it's ever
Bill Maher
happened.
the other night, and he's talking about, that's like a Los Angeles person's worst nightmare, seeing the empty highways and not having anywhere to go.
At least we have some clean air, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil,
Cool.
is the mask rule in Los Angeles, is that a thing? Like you have to wear a mask when you go out now?
People are. I mean, I think there must have been an order, about wearing masks. I would say, just kind of roughly speaking, it seems like maybe 40 or 50% of the people are wearing masks right now. Maybe 40%.
Yeah.
Whether they're walking around outside or if they're at grocery stores. Seems like some people are, some people aren't.
Wouldn't you have to wear like a full-on gas mask for something like that? Because if you wear like something like a surgical mask, I mean, that's mainly designed so from what I understand, if a surgeon either sneezes or coughs or something, it's supposed to go into that cloth. But for something like a virus or breathing in the sides, it's really not going to do a whole lot.
Right. And there's
So-
definitely a shortage of those too. So
Yeah.
it's really a mess.
Yeah, there's a lot of contradictions about wearing a mask if it's effective. You're supposed to use it once too, and discard it after a while. But people, I mean, if you use it again, it defeats the purpose. And gloves and all that, like you said, it's not really preventative. That's why they were saying just wash your hands, keep distance is probably the
That
best.
person spread it though, so if you have a mask on and you cough, can that person still spread it to someone else that doesn't have it? So it sounds like it could be preventative in some ways.
Yeah, it's like
Mask is more.
if you use it again.
I think they just said that in the beginning because there's not enough masks for everybody. That they were like, oh, don't panic about not having a mask. Really, just wash your hands now. It's like, all right, everybody, make your mask. We kind of recommend it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
it's
mine.
weird. Now, have you seen those pictures of people making whatever they can to make masks out of anything, like that they find around? And I've seen some pictures from the hospitals where doctors or physicians are wearing, like, they just go to Staples and buy whatever stuff they can to try to make makeshift masks. It's getting that bad.
I'm saying it's relative to the pore size of the material that you're using. The virus is quite small itself, but it's usually travels in a droplet of water, right? You're going to need something that has pretty tiny pores to keep that from going through. That's what, but it's more, if you're coughing into it, it's kind of like putting your hand over your mouth. So it's going to prevent the spread of it, but not necessarily the intake of something that's coming from someone else that's not covering their mouth.
I wanted to ask, like, have you seen less pollution, less smog in LA? That must be like a unique thing to see.
Definitely. And, Aaron and I have taken many walks around Los Angeles. Some days are just completely beautiful. And then some days, you can get a lot of pollution. Right now, it's incredible. It's probably like what San Diego looks like.
What's it like when you say you'll get bad days where there's a lot of pollution? Like, I've never really been in a city like that. So what does that mean?
I think definitely like visibility is low. One thing that I feel like that LA doesn't get much credit for is that it's a mountain town. There's huge mountains around here. There are some days when it feels so clean and crisp. You can see the mountains. It's striking. It's incredible. But then there are other days where you can't really see anything in the distance. So it really runs the spectrum. It's such a nice place, though. I mean, as far as, all the different sort of textures to this city, like every neighborhood's so different. Koreatown, Silver Lake, Hollywood, etc. It's been a great place to explore, but right now everybody's been, really just locked down, it seems like. And I'm really not sure when things are going to go back to normal.
Yeah. Can I ask you personally, like, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but Neel he's also teaches lessons in the Los Angeles community. And how has that affected your partner? You and I have discussed this, but I think it's really like your viewpoint on that. Like,
sure. Yeah, but by the way, I play drums and percussion. Behind me, you could probably see my drum set.
That's nice.
Yeah, nice.
And then I play these Indian drums here too.
The tablas.
Yeah, tabla. I teach here and perform and record. It's been a little bit more challenging with teaching, and we have to really adapt to this situation. So we're using Zoom and Skype for lessons. The only problem with that is that you can't play at the exact same time as your student because there's a slight delay.
Yeah.
So you really have to go kind of back and forth. We're trying to make it work, and I think there's still a lot of ways that you can spread knowledge. And so I'm really interested to see the sort of new tools that teachers use, music teachers or teachers of all type to adapt to this situation.
I was thinking the innovation comes from difficulties. So we're definitely all these Zoom conference softwares and teaching instructions. Like, I think, that's all going to hopefully improve and go with the need.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, we have a video cast that we're doing. It's a group of people that are talking about, world music and Indian music and West African, and really ways that we can bridge all these different, musical traditions. So that's called Lima Live, Laima. That's the music school that I teach out of. And yeah, I'm really happy to meet you all and to just to chat with you. I hope to get to chat with you a little bit more, in the future. I just wish you all the best in these crazy times.
Yeah, man. You too, man. Definitely.
Thank you.
Enjoy the crisp air.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
I have something to add. I wish they would work on the roads while there's no one on the roads right now. Because I don't know if you guys, I'm sure Josh and everybody else probably knows of this, and John, about BellDOT. They've been advertising about finding alternate ways to get to work because of March 2021 for 3 years. They're going to close 95 around the Christiana Riverfront because they got to change all the suspensions. They got to be changed every like 25 years. And they're making it one way. So nice if they could kind of work on that now. There's not many people on the road if they're going to make 95.
Well, especially out here in California, there's a lot of potholes, a lot of just terrible roads. And
there are potholes here in PA. I noticed forming around too.
But you know what? Instead, they're just installing 5G. That's all. That's all the government cares about. Just saying. No conspiracies here.
How are all you doing with like your families? Because me and Aaron are away from our families right now. But how are you doing visiting them? How are they doing? Going to grocery stores or? I
shop for my parents because they're old enough to be my grandparents, and I wear like a mask around them and kind of stay away. And they kind of been like loving it. I come over there and they're like, my dad and my mom are making pastels, and there's like Frank Sinatra playing in the background, like. They're like fine. It's our generation going a little nuts, but having trouble with it.
How about you, Josh? How's the fam doing, man? Parents and everything?
Doing good. I'm keeping my social distance at the moment.
Yeah.
But my dad actually just dropped off food and a couple things. He gave me my acoustic guitar too at my
Oh,
parents' house, so got that.
Just drop it
And my
off
mom made me a mask. I guess she
Oh, that's
Put
nice.
that on. Let me see. Like,
That's nice. Yeah, let me
she
see.
got me too. Yeah,
Try it
well,
on.
I'm trying. I haven't tested it yet.
Nice, dude.
nice.
You got to cover the nose too, man.
I gotta do the nose. Okay.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think you're ready
Yeah,
to
that
rob a
works.
bank.
Very educational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often are you going to wash that thing?
Right after you wear it.
Correct answer.
You need to get
Thank
a couple more, man.
Got one here.
Oh, there you go.
Where's yours
man.
at?
Yeah, exactly, Ryan. Where's yours
Where's
at?
yours at? Yeah. What is this?
I'll tell you the one I got. I got it.
Not that fancy.
Like this is a basic one. It's like a simple ass, just
I mean, you could draw on it.
It looks like Paisleys are on it.
I got one with the
Yeah, it's got some little scar
the
like
show on it.
There you
Oh,
go.
what's he got?
It's got the aspirator on it. The
I got a P95.
I got the N95. You have the P. What's the difference?
Particulate.
It's a little more high end.
For
I don't
chemical.
even want a mask. You guys are better off.
Mask party now.
No, our work. We just discovered you want to use these though for no longer like than 30 hours usually. But I guess you can make it last longer or a month when you start using it.
But it's 30 hours altogether.
It's 30 hours or a month depending on how often you're using it.
Mhm.
You shouldn't
Right.
probably be out for 30 hours straight. I guess.
Right now, that's what I mean. Like, so my work discovered we had 300,000 of these. After
300,000.
a lot of people-
How old were they?
Oh, they're pretty old though because they bought them in the 2009 during the SARS, right?
Oh
Oh
damn.
yeah, that's well.
Or not SARS.
Is there an
maybe-
expiration date on those things? Specifically, what's the?
So it did. I think they were like expired. I think they were expired, but they were kept in a climate-controlled room and they were never opened. So the hospitals they donated about 300,000 of them to the local hospital, and they took them. You know, because it's better than nothing.
That's a good deed. Mhm.
I mean, that's crazy that they had that many. But that's what happened. Yeah, it was for that instance, you know, in case of an emergency.
That's cool.
Tammy's got her.
My work one.
Oh yeah.
Fancy.
Like you're about to work on some teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got a Johnny Appleseed looking fake gun. It's like a kid's gun, like the really, really old school, like they're made out of like metal and wood.
For World War Z.
It has, like, a-
When the
So when the
zombies.
world goes to shit, though, yeah. You
Well,
might
when the
scare someone
zombies-
with that. Okay.
I do swing by my parents' house though. Like we'll keep a little bit of a distance when we eat, but I'll do that, do my laundry. I'm by myself all day, so
This is the predictions we made at the back in March 15th.
Yeah.
And when I mean, that was the point, like I read at the beginning, right? It was like 100 times less cases. Total cases then were 3,600. We're at 330,000 now in the US. So 100 times more cases now, right? And we were saying even then, most people were saying a month. Right? And I said like high of like 3 to 6 months or something like that.
I mean, just the rate at how fast it has
that's what
spread and occurred. Like that was like what 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. You don't think anything like this would be so fast moving? You know, one day it's like in China, and the next thing you know it's like worldwide, and then it's.
So do you guys believe now, looking back 3 weeks ago, that the media was blowing it out of proportion?
Well, if people listen to social distancing, I guess, I think enough people listened and it just ballooned, like New York and stuff. So, do you think the media, Aaron? Do you think so?
Del Percio knows, man. We've been talking, man.
It's a shame. It's like the media is like the kid that cries wolf. It's like everything's rating, so we don't even take them seriously anymore. So they finally were like trying to tell us something, and we're all kind of, you know. So and it was serious. So
In general, I want everyone to know that it jumped up 30 something countries in like the last couple of days. It's spread out to 30 more countries.
Surely definition of pandemic, global, worldwide. Did you hear? So the strains, right? There's currently 8 strains of coronavirus 19 in the world right now.
Yeah.
And the reason why we normally hear about 2 of them in the U.S. is because 2 of those 8 have come here, and they were able to track based on the rate of the mutations in them. That the one in Washington, like the first one into the U.S. came in Washington, a man from Wuhan who left Washington on January 15th. The one that came into New York City came in through Europe. It came from China to Europe and then to New York City. And then those two strains have pretty much spread throughout our country from the West Coast in to the mid and East Coast in. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I mean, when we first heard of Wuhan, I always thought like a small town city or something like that. But it's a big business center in China, if I'm correct. So there's a lot of travelers going in and out that city. That marketplace is just a very small part of that city, but it's a business center.
Academic research there too as well.
Right.
So you said COVID-19 has 8 different strands.
It can start with one. Think about they're doubling all the time. Every time they replicate, they double. But if they go into a different environment, just like in any species, if it gets isolated from the rest of its species, it can, over time, through many generations, change into a different species, right? So it's just that's what viruses do. They're just doing it over. They're doubling at such a fast rate. For human evolution, it might take tens of thousands of years for something, but in viruses, it can happen over weeks. So they're able to track now that there's 8 strains that started from that original escape from the animal.
Original. Okay. Because that kind of piqued my interest because there's some cleaning products from 2002 that says COVID-19 on it, and that kills COVID-19. So
I wouldn't say COVID-19 though, because that's named after the one in 2019. So it probably says coronavirus though, right?
No, I have to look at it. It's a COVID-19. Me and Steve were kind of surprised when we saw that. We're like, oh, so I guess
like some from the future thing.
COVID, like the 19 just means novel coronavirus 2019. If they wrote that on cleaning products 10 years ago,
some Back to the Future shit right there.
That wouldn't be a name yet.
Okay. I'll have to grab it.
But if you do, show us. That's super.
Yeah, maybe it's something else.
That's a story right there. But coronaviruses have been studied for a long time. I had just learned about what was it called, the E201, or there was some type of global pandemic scenario.
201,
like
scenario 201 or something like that. Yeah.
Did you guys hear about this? But it was done in October last year, and it was just basically a consortium of world health experts in pandemic. So they did like a pandemic response scenario, just like the military does training.
Event 201. That's what it was called.
E201.
Yeah.
But they did this, like I said, October just last year, right before this thing supposedly got started. I think it was November 7th or something, I think, in Wuhan. But so they had just done this exercise to predict what were some of the models that could happen and what would you do in these scenarios. So everybody got to practice, and it was a lot of health leaders. But
there you go. Did you know that Bill Gates was one of the main honchos behind that?
Oh yeah, he's been doing vaccine. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donates lots of money to vaccine research for a long time. Yeah, they're heavily invested in trying to stop a lot of African local endemics of like Ebola. They invested a lot of money in finding the vaccine for Ebola and continually for malaria. So that doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Yeah, my company
speech you did in 2015 about the pandemic. That would have you guys seen the movie Contingent? Contagion, sorry.
Oh, Contagion, yeah.
It was done in 2011, and it's really darn close to what's going on here.
Is that the one with Matt Damon, like Steven Soderbergh? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I haven't seen that. I know Netflix has been promoting it again. I have to watch it again just to, because it's slightly relevant.
It's really good. It's like down to like the smallest details. Like even like the kids couldn't have prom. I'm like, gosh, like everything's exactly the same. Like that writer must be so excited that he written something that predict the future. Kind of reminded me of how Star Trek, they have like similar things that we have now, but it was like the movie was pretty darn close. It was.
I mean, I think we should all keep that in mind. Like, yeah, that was the 2011 movie. When you hear leaders talking about, we could have never predicted this. Of course they did. Experts predict this stuff, and they have. It said this is the greatest threats to face humankind. So I mean, it's enough to make a movie about it, where you said it's pretty accurate in what we're going through.
Yeah, news just in that they said the first infection of a tiger at a Bronx Zoo. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that news. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 other tigers and lions have also fallen ill. I believe that.
What? It's jumping ship from like.
Well,
is this the same?
Animal to us? and
And
then
now
Yeah.
back to animal.
we are animals. So
Yeah. So they were infected by a zoo employee who wasn't yet showing symptoms.
oh my gosh.
But they're recovering, they said.
But just no, this is the bad news. Here's the super bad news about that. The reason why the influenza continues to come around every year is because it creates it has a life cycle, right? So in order for it to come back to humans every seasonal, it has to go to another animal. So for us, it goes back to birds, right? And then it'll go to like pigs and then back to us, right? And it keeps going through this cycle. And like through replication, it has to do that. For viruses that don't do that, they don't come back. Like so, once they go into you, and if they can't go back into another host, like so that's not good news. Knowing that now it can go from humans back to another animal.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that means it's
And this isn't seasonal either. This is the same season.
Yeah.
no,
so
no, I don't mean seasonal as in spring, summer, fall, winter. I mean it goes through its cycles, like it's seasonal. Like it'll go through its cycle from humans to another animal, and then maybe to something else, and then back to humans again.
Is my dog not safe anymore? Should I stop kissing the dog when I come back from the grocery store?
Well, I mean, think about this. I have 3 ferrets, and ferrets are one of the heaviest used animals in vaccine trials because their respiratory system is very similar to humans. So ferrets right now are being used, trying a vaccine, then infecting them and see if they still get infected. So that's a ferret, another mammal just like us. Dogs are also mammals. I don't know if dogs can get it, and I don't think it's been verified or ever experienced yet. But when I do think about dogs, I think about my son petting them, and I do not let him pet them because they can be carriers just on their fur from us. So if you do take your dog out for a walk and another family or little kid wants to come pet your dog, you probably shouldn't let them.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it just originally mutated to be able to have a human as a host. I didn't know if it could,
Transfer.
you can't give the dog the flu, but I didn't know if it mutated back, or when they do the ferret studies, are they mutating it back for the ferret to get infected to try an antibody? Like
it hasn't been as much time too, so we like just hearing about that tiger thing is
it's Bronx Zoo in New York.
That's not good though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's scary.
Not just for that, not for the individual case necessarily. I mean, of course, I care about the individual case. The fact that the biology is there for it to go from us to something else. So I'll definitely look into that though.
They also said that worldwide that there's been reports of like pet dogs and cats being infected.
Yeah.
But the first in the U.S. tiger being infected.
What did you say prior to that? You said there hasn't been for dog and cats, right?
There has been a few reports of dogs and cats being infected.
Yeah, see, that kind of information should be out there for people because that's a big deal, and we should know about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the first I'm hearing about this.
Shouldn't be hearing about Facebook ratings.
Yeah.
I know people that just get their news from Facebook. I'm like, just no.
Yeah, this is the latest right here as of today, and we're crushing every country right now.
Well, I did a calculation, and you have to add up Spain, Italy, Germany, France, the UK, Switzerland, maybe one more country in the UK, in the Europe to equal the population of the United States. So when you add all those, pretty close, it's within 4 million people. And when you add all their statistics together, they're still about 2 times the amount of, this was 5 days ago. They were like 2 times the amount of cases than us per capita, and a lot more deaths too. Because that's where people travel. That's the thing. It's like, it happens where people travel to, like destination. Europe is a hot destination center, many cities there.
Yeah. I understand, man.
My partner, right? Her mom lives in Spain. It's hit so bad there. They can't walk out on the street, and hospitals are flooded. I mean, it's a small area, but a lot of people live there in the city centers. It's a tragedy, but this is what viruses do, and they don't make decisions on it.
You remember when we were talking about how you said there was a lot of stockpile that the government's not using right now, and the governors are fighting or they're bidding over ventilators and things like that.
They're trying to get it from companies, actually purchasing them from companies. The stockpile they're getting from also, I believe, but there's a big holdup there that the president says that's for federal use, not for states use. And he says we should be a second option, not the first option. So that's why all the companies, the governors are having to do bidding wars with actually companies that make these masks or that have them, and ventilators and PPE. Has anybody heard like something other than that? A big thing I'm hearing right now is that we're contacting other countries for medical equipment simultaneously as we are sending them stuff from our stock.
I heard
Uh,
that.
No communication going on at the upper echelon. Yeah, this is the time when you're supposed to have a federalized government for the security, health, and militarily of your country, and that's the purpose of a localized central government. You know, other things, this whole void of responsibility. But when you put people in charge of the country, that platform that they ran on was to have less government. It's kind of hard for them to actually use government when their platform has been get rid of government, get rid of regulations, get rid of these protective powers. This is a product of putting people in power that don't want a government.
I agree with that statement.
Like the one statement I want to make is that I found out my company's Covance involved in clinical research trials, and they have created a task force of highly regarded experts in the field of infectious diseases, doctors and physicians and researchers. So they're going to try to start implementing quick clinical research trials to see if they can have vaccine out as soon as possible for treating the coronavirus, the COVID-19. And then we have a parent company called LabCorp, which will be making the medical supplies that are needed, like the gloves, masks, ventilators. I get weekly news about it, and it seems like they're really accelerating and trying to find that cure as soon as possible.
That's good.
Thanks
Hopefully.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
movie, Contingent, they forced a vaccine out, but they didn't have a long enough time to trial it, and they kind of said, well, you know, like, oh, what is this going to give me, like shingles or something? Like there was no time, and they just started like giving them out in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if they do get a valid one, it would be 2021, right?
Right.
Through all
Yeah,
the
and
clinical
maybe 21.
processes and stuff. But
Right.